Hey, what's up guys? It's Sean from Kinetic Performance and Fitness, and I'm back with another video talking about anterior pelvic tilt. So why does this concern you guys? Well, let me tell you. So I've been talking about core a lot this week. How do we train it? Why it's important? And anterior pelvic tilt plays a part in how your core operates. So that's basically saying that your hips are tilting forward. And why is this a big deal? Well, it's just about the muscles working correctly. So if you look at an anatomy chart in an anterior pelvic tilt position, you'll see that your hip flexors are super tight, your lower back is tight, and your hamstrings are shortened and really tight. So what that means is those guys are actually doing all of the work, and instead of your transverse abdominis or your glutes doing the work for stabilizing and hip extension, the other guys are working. And that's not what we want, because those aren't meant to do the work. So what we're looking at is making sure those glutes can stabilize the hips and extending the hip as well. So glutes are firing, stabilizing the hip, extending the hip, and then the transverse abdominis, the rectus femoris, and the internal external obliques, those guys are stabilizing the lumbar region and making sure the trunk stays nice and tight. So a lot of it has to do with force production. So let's say we're coming off of a big jump and we overshoot it, or we come up short. Either way, we want to make sure that we can stabilize the hips and the trunk with the appropriate muscle groups, okay? Because if we're not, we're going to overextend our back. Our knees start driving forward, all of that force goes into our ankles are hurting. So it's just a big mess that we don't want to deal with. So let me show you what anterior pelvic tilt looks like, and then how do we correct that? Okay, anterior pelvic tilts. So hip flexors are tight. Imagine I'm grabbing right here. That's pulling my hips forward, okay? So if my hips were a bucket of water, water is spilling out in front of me, okay? So this means that my lower back is tightened, okay? Hips are nice and tight in the front, and then the hamstrings are pulling too, okay? So it looks like I'm trying to get some extra likes on Instagram, but what I want to do is do posterior pelvic tilt, okay? So that's going to put our hips forward. We're going to be squeezing here and squeezing the glutes. Okay guys, and this is why I talked about maintaining a flat back in the last article on the ground when we do some core exercises. This is to reinforce that posterior pelvic tilt, okay? So we're just tilting the lower back onto the ground, making sure that lumbar spine is nice and neutral. And of course, we're not always going to have a neutral spine the entire time when we're riding or in life. We're just trying to make sure that we can protect our spine and everything else when it's going through different positions, because injury doesn't really occur when we are in a fixed position. It's when we're changing position really quickly. So ACLs, lower backs, anything like that, that's when things are going haywire and we can't stabilize. So let me demonstrate a dead bug real quick, and I'll show you what I want when we're doing core exercises on the ground like this. Okay, so what I'll do, okay, I'll have my legs up just like this, okay? Both arms and legs are up. If I can put my hand underneath my back and there's a tunnel underneath, that's not good. I want to press down, okay? And as I go through, keep pressing down with my back against the ground, okay? Now, if this is too hard, I can bend the knees and I can do this, okay? And then if that's too hard, I can just do the arms. And again, if you still feel that arch in the back, put your feet down and just do your arms. Okay? And there you go. Reinforcing posterior pelvic tilts, eliminating the anterior pelvic tilt, and I will show you some videos on stretches that I recommend. So that'll be in the description, and I'll see you guys next time.